So a bunch of the pinballs are kicked out of the garage. I'm working on video games right now. This one I'm calling FrogAlanche. It is an Atari Avalanche game. Cabinet. Somebody stuck a bootleg Frogger board into. I think it's literally just called Frog. Pretty common. But yeah, Avalanche. I don't remember ever playing an Avalanche when I was a kid. I don't know what year it came out. 70s sometime, but it's kind of just glorified Super Breakout to some degree, but I think stuff falls from the screen rather than just gets broken. But cabin's not bad. I mean, it's got its rashes, but for its age, it's respectable. It was converted to LCD on the monitor, and they used just like a vinyl wrap on the control panel, just a black vinyl, and then I don't know. I mean, I guess it might be a control panel overlay. It's just so leathery. It's such a go to the automotive detailing store. They'd sell you this, but it's got these graphics on it like it was made. Maybe they're just stickers. I don't know, but not too much fluff to it. It's got Williams style buttons on it. Owl Eye coin door, so that's pretty good. Those are always fun. I do like those coin doors. So yeah, it plays. Everything works on it. I did add. I don't know if they had them originally. I think they did, but it didn't have a light, so I added a 12-volt lights, lamp socket, and a lamp. So that's illuminated now. This was all here the way it is. I haven't done a ton too much to this game. What was going on with it is it was... There we go. It, yeah, show Frog, come on. Trying to go to the title screen. Yeah, Frog graphic and then FROG and then graphic. You can tell they're replacing FROGGER. Yeah, so they just replace those bitmaps or wherever they are in memory with the symbols and the characters, but it still has 7 positions. So that's always fun. I put a lock on this thing, so that's lockable. I did a little tune-up on the rejects there because they weren't quite as springy as they needed to be. Added the lamp. Cleaned up the coin mechanisms a little bit. It's got a power switch in it, factory power switch, but it wasn't wired up. And I wanted to get that back in there. The only way to power this one on was with just the power cable. So I went ahead and wired that back up, but I did remove 2 of 3 interlock switches. It had one mounted here, it had one mounted down here, and then it had one mounted up front in the coin door, but that was missing. But these 2 were still there. They were just cut. The wires were just hanging off of it. And then up top, the power switch just had wires hanging off of that as well. So I got that all wired back in. So now the power comes in from the wall, goes up to the filter, the EMI filter, and goes up to the power switch, comes back down, dog legs off to the AC adapter, the power supply, and then it's got got a common ground for all that, and then these little splinters come off and go to the VGA adapter for the LCD screen. I made this little shroud out of this construction paper and made some folds, made some cuts, and stapled it down. The whole point is if somebody does want to use this for coin, they're not going to get in here. You can put a coin bucket in there, but the way this was mounted, I didn't want to move it. And the way it's, because the wiring was already intact, so rather than that, I just built that around. And these 2 sides are stapled off so coins can't get in there. But this side is open, and then the back I've got this little gap cut for the wiring and stuff. Did some cable management. Got zip ties with the little eyelet in them. When you buy these, you want to buy a bunch of screws too. 3/4 inch screws work the best because you've got a 1/4 inch of standoff from the zip tie itself. But then you still got to get into the cabinet. And so a 3/4, at least a 5/8. A 1/2 inch will not do what you need. It'll just pull right out. So get 5/8, but 3/4 is good. A little more cable management comes over, jumps over. This guy has way too much cable. I don't know how this thing is routed, but there's a lot there. And this thing's got some hacks for sure. There's a lot going on with some of this stuff. There we go. So it's got some jumper stuff going on here. And then it's got some jumper stuff going on over here on the lower board. And then it's also got this tying the addresses together on the 6 and 7 proms. So I have no idea what that's for, if that was required to make this bootleg work. I don't know if this bootleg was like a retired board from something else they made work into a Frog, just put the ROMs in from a bootleg, or what. But either way, it's kind of wacky. I decided to just leave it. It looks like the electrolytics were already redone at some point recently. Those are new caps. So pretty decent work on it up until I got to it. I just wanted to add some of those creature comforts back in to get things so they're not going to get shorted out, and get a power switch on and everything. Mounted all this up when I got it. There were just 2 screws sitting up here like posts, so this could just rattle around. So I got that back on there, and it's not a bad little monitor. It's mounted to wood like it's, I don't know. I mean, maybe it is an arcade grade, but I have no idea. I didn't really dig into it much. It doesn't have like any sort of badging on it, like a Philips or Dell or anything like that. Whenever I do these, I just kind of use retired PC monitors. Unless somebody wants me to install an arcade grade, I'll do that. But otherwise, I just use old 4x3 PC monitors. But this one looks like it's made to just be an arcade monitor. But it works pretty good. I don't really like this interface. They put the power button in the middle. So every time you're trying to adjust these blind because you're looking around or trying to use a mirror, you accidentally hit that and turn the power off. And getting into and out of the menu is a little weird on this one. I don't know. That's pretty much it. I don't know the difference in the game player or the sound compared to Frogger. It seems like Frogger to me. Oh yeah, one thing. It originally had really dim, not picture, but colors. I kept cranking the brightness up over and over again. And messing with the contrast, messing with the backlight display settings. And it would get brighter, but there's nothing popping to it. I didn't know if it was this was the bezel was just too dark. It's a tinted bezel, smoke plexi, but just really, really dim. What it turned out to be is on these little Chinese cheap VGA adapter boards, they do have little adjustments on them. Let's see if I can get the light on. There we go. I don't remember what the name of these are, Senwa or Swayar, I don't know. But they're not expensive. I think these can be had for like $15 or something like that. But for the most part, they're going to get the job done. There are some brands of arcade boards that don't work with these for the signal specific frequencies or synchronization and things like that. But you see these a lot. Anyways, right here, these are actually potentiometers. And so each one of those controls a different color. So you get your blue, green, and red that makes up the raster for your color. Well, those were both all set at unity, just straight up the middle. So it basically wasn't feeding enough signal of those colors into the monitor. It was, no matter what you did, it was just not enough. So it may look like they were backed off, but Going counterclockwise like that is actually what turns the color up. So I went ahead and turned those and basically matched them that hot, and then it got to the point where the colors really did stand out. Nothing's bleeding, nothing's overblown, nothing's garish. So I ended up with a pretty nice picture. So yeah, Frog plays good. I did a little bit of an adjustment on the leaf switches for the joystick. Up was a little too sensitive for whatever reason, so that's just a simple adjustment of the gapping between the leaf switches. But it works really well. Fun little game, and I'm not gonna put too much of a price on this thing. Just it's not actual Frogger, and I don't think Froggers go too terribly expensive. I think Frogger, nice Frogger, is probably like $700, $800. But you know, just a fun little arcade game for somebody's house. So it's pretty cool. I got some other projects going on. Got a bunch of chaos going on in the garage that I have. That's a coin pusher. Centipede over there. Williams Narc. And then poker machine. Which I've never worked on a poker machine before. But the only reason I pulled this one out to work on was because it basically works now. It wasn't doing anything before, and I found a bad power switch on it, and I know I need to replace that. And then the monitor, when you kind of flex the monitor a little bit, it comes in and out, so there's got to be like a cracked solder joint or some wacky cracked component or resistor. Some of the big ceramic resistors on these can get cracks on the heavier stuff. So I don't know, I think it might be an easy fix, but sometimes tracing solder, cracked solder joints is a chore, but you can have ways to pinpoint them. So I'll mess with that a little bit and try and get it out, but it's a little 13-inch monitor. I think it's from 84 maybe? Not quite sure. I thought I saw something in there that says mid-80s, but Narc has a board in it, and that's basically it. So there's a board and a bezel, the back pieces, but yeah, the monitor's missing, and I think the power supply is missing, and I have no idea if the game board works. There's no speakers in it. It's not the interlock switch is missing down there. I think it's missing on the bottom too. So anyways, I haven't done some video games in a while, so I figured I'd fuss with these for a bit. Getting back at the swing of video games isn't ever fun. Not as rewarding as working on pins, but you know, they're charming. Anyways, that's FrogAlanche. It's got pretty decent side art. I should MAME up Avalanche and give it a whirl. I don't know what it stands to gain compared to Breakout or Arkanoid, but it's probably all right. So anyways, thanks for watching.